Hi, I'm about to go through question 36 on section 1 of ECAA 2018. So for this question, we're told that x and y are non-zero real numbers, and we're given 3 statements, and we're asked which of these statements, when taken independently, is or are true. Right, okay, for this question I'm actually going to start with statement 3 because I think it's the easiest one. So if you multiply 2 numbers together and it's small, then do both of your numbers have to be small? And the answer is just no. The small one just has to be smaller than the big one is big. So for example, I could take x equals 2 and y equals a quarter, and if I multiply those together, I get a half, which is less than 1. But our x is most certainly not less than 1. And actually I can take x to be as large as I want, so long as I take y to be 1 over something even larger. So here I have that x is 10,000, but my xy is still a half, which is less than 1. So statement number 3 most certainly is not true. Now, I think these other two are a bit harder because if x and y were positive, then they actually would be true, but there isn't anything to say that x and y must be greater than 0. And, inequalities are a bit more complicated when negatives are involved. So if you are looking to disprove some statements about inequalities, then maybe thinking about negative numbers isn't a bad way to go. But now that I've clued you in onto the fact that we want to look at negative numbers, then can you maybe think of an example when this wouldn't be true? So let me rewrite our statement where we have more space. So this statement is just saying x over y greater than 1 implies that x is greater than 1. Now, what happens when I take x and y negative? Can I still get a ratio that is greater than 1? Of course, I could just take something like x equals minus 2 and y equals minus 1. Then x over y would just be minus 2 over minus 1, which is 2, which is, of course, greater than 1. But is x greater than y? No, it's not. Minus 2 is less than minus 1. So just because we have this ratio being greater than 1 doesn't mean that x has to be greater than y. So our first statement is also false. Okay, so what about statement number 2? X over y greater than 1 if and only if y over x is less than 1. So this is the same as saying this implies this, and this also implies this. So for the statement to be false, we need either implication to be false. So we don't even need to show that it's wrong in both directions, just one will do. So if I write it down here. Now this time, because we've got ratios, it won't work to make both of them negative, because the negative signs will cancel when we divide them by each other. So it wouldn't make any difference to if they were both positive. But what if just one of them were negative? So say I chose x less than 0, but y to be greater than 0. Then what would happen to these ratios? So what would the sign of y over x be? Well, if x is negative and y is positive, then y over x would also be negative. And if it's less than 0, then it's definitely going to be less than 1. But then does this fact that y over x is less than 1 imply that x over y is greater than 1? Well, no, because if x is less than 0 and y is greater than 0, then we also get that x over y is less than 0, in which case x over y is most definitely less than 1 as well. And if you wanted to see this with an example with actual numbers, then you could choose, say, x is minus 2 and y is plus 1. Then y over x is going to be minus a half, and x over y is going to be minus 2. Both are negative and both are less than 1. So our our second statement is also not true. So as for which of these 3 statements is or are true, none of them are, so our answer is A.